Hey there. So I feel inspired to do a video. My boyfriend says that among many talents, one of my gift and talent is talking. When he told me that, I laughed. I was like, is that an insult or a compliment? And then he made me realize that no, Macy, you just love sharing authentically, openly, and you're just passionate about anything and everything, right? So you just love to talk and you observe so much that when your gift is just talking, right? And sharing openly. So he encouraged me strongly to just share when I feel inspired and share no matter what goes in my mind, no matter what I observe during my daily life or anything that's happening in my life or even the people I'm crossing path with, right? And I do believe that so far the reason I've been so self-observant, self-aware, growing in my mindset and in spirituality is not only my curiosity, but also my ability to observe. I love the human behavior. I'm just simply curious about anything. So yeah, so let's go with it. I guess it can be called a type of an audio journal. So I'm living here for a week for at the house of my stepmom, who is who has Alzheimer. So she has a form of dementia, and is been experiencing, I think, for um, about 2 years. She's been experiencing troubles of memory, right? And she's pretty advanced in terms of stages, if you want to call that. However, she still is able to read. She's still able to eat, do her own, cleaning herself, do the basic needs, right? But she cannot be left alone. And we all pray for her. And she's a woman of faith. She's been growing in the church all her life, and she's always loved her God, her Jesus Christ. She always loved her. And we don't quite know what things happen and can be meant for a mysterious way. But we see a lot of resistance and a lot of fear. So people who I don't know because it's my first experience, but I feel like people who do have those Alzheimer's issues or have episodes, right? So they have episodes of like one moment she's gonna be crying her balls out and be super sad and be like super emotional. The next moment she's gonna be, happy, joyful, and everything is good, right? Because every day is literally a new day for her, right? She doesn't remember her yesterdays. She doesn't remember, she remembers and rekindles some past, some basic knowledge of herself, but sometimes she thinks that she's young. Sometimes she thinks that she's not a retired person. So it can be quite challenging for us to be a support of her and know where she's at in her mind, right? But one of the things that we've noticed, and I can feel in her energy, is she has a lot of built up. I'm so out of breath here, guys. I went upstairs. Whew. She has a lot of built up, unhealed traumas, issues. And at certain moments, she's going to be super vulnerable and share her stuff. And at other moments, she's going to be on a defensive mode, fighting mode. And all her life, to put you in context, she's been a woman of 4 sons, a mom of 4 sons. She's been taking care of the business of the family. She's always been present, and she used to control her environment and take care of everything, her finances, her business, her family growing up. She never took, that's from my perspective, obviously, but I feel that she never took a time to actually sit down and breathe, actually sit down and make a point, right? She was always in control, right? So the concept of surrendering and letting go, it's quite, and for many people, right? And this is for me such a blessing. It might sound weird to say this way, but an opportunity for me to observe what happens at the end of your life after 80 years? She's 85 now. After 85 years, if you do not learn this concept of letting go truly to God and surrendering your will and your being to Him, what does happen to you? You know, when do you remember and when you don't? And what I was saying is that, so all her life she's been in control, and all her life she had a hard time, I think, conceding with the surrendering part of it, right? And she does have a lot of fears. Sometimes she's gonna come up and say, oh, Sissa, we left me alone. We left me alone, and she's surrounded by us. And sometimes she doesn't see her sons, right? She doesn't remember us, but she remembers her sons. And she's just gonna think that her sons abandoned her, right? So you see fears of abandonment, the fear of being alone. You see a bunch of different fears coming across her experience as someone who doesn't remember, right? And when she goes through those episodes, you try to console her, right? You try to adapt different ways. So at the beginning, you know, all of the family loves her so dearly that they take care of her, and they're being very kind and very soft with her, right? But she, even though she seems like she's soft, that could be another video for another content here, the definition of like the masculinity roughly and the masculinity that is soft, but both are masculine and controlling, right? So they're all soft with her. Oh, everything is gonna be okay, my dear, trying to console her, but in her head she's fixating. She is not letting go, and she's fixating over and over and over on her fear, on her misunderstanding, on what's happening. She tries to understand everything, but her brain just cannot follow anymore, right? And in the transition, when she started to forget more and more, and she couldn't take care of her finances as before, she started to become paranoid, like, oh, somebody stole my money, somebody stole my papers, right? So that was a difficult transition for her. And obviously, if you never sat down and took time to surrender, or took time to really face what are your fears and your traumas, of course I don't expect her miraculously today to do so, unless a miracle happens. But what I've noticed is that no matter how we approach her, either we console her, we give her hugs, we tell her positive affirmations, we're reminding her of what a good life she's had, we're reminding her family loves her, literally everything, anything we're telling her is just comes in, and I don't even think she hears us. It just comes in the ear, comes out right away. She's so fixated, and she's holding on, guys. She is holding on. She does not want to let go. And it's like if being stressed, being on a, you know, defensive mode, being like what's happening is like a comforting mode for her, and just letting it go, it's just such uncharted territory, right? There's some days that she's gonna be at peace because she doesn't remember her past. So I don't know who she thinks she is, I don't know where she thinks she are, and I don't know if she knows who we are. But like, for example, yesterday was like such a peaceful day until the night she starts thinking that somebody's gonna pick her up because I don't know. But it's really rare she has peace, and I keep, you know, reminding her, hey, you're gonna be fine, you are safe, you're at peace, you know. Pray for the Lord to bring you peace, inner peace, surrendering. And it's like she does not accept the words, and she's so much obsessed with her difficulties and her issues, and it's like if she stubbornly doesn't want to be freed from it. It's quite curious, isn't it? And we keep praying, and you'll see that prayers are very strong, my friends. We do hold a lot of power, especially when we are connected in our spirituality and with our higher self. we do have a lot of possibilities with prayers. But if the person you're praying for is resisting and closing their doors, their heart and their doors to their soul, yes, it's gonna maybe create some influence whatsoever, but as long as the person we're praying for does not want that prayer, does not want that healing, does not want to open their heart, you know, it's a sacred temple. And I feel that she's closing off. I feel like she's holding the doors closed or holding her heart closed, and she's being stubborn with herself. And if all her life she's worked through her life this way, why would she change today, right? Someone seeks change when they truly face pain, like real pain. Pain that becomes so unbearable that you either fight, flight, run, whatever. You just go on your knees and you just like, fuck it, God, just, take over my life. I cannot take it anymore. I cannot try to manipulate it and control it. Just take over my life. And this is one of the things that pushed me to surrender, right? It's been such a beautiful journey since then. That could be for another video. But all that to say that she doesn't listen. She stubbornly, like, and she's like, she agrees with you. She's like, wow, yeah, oh, I had a good life. Yeah, thank you. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you for giving me so many compliments. Thank you. She tells you yes and agrees with you, but the next moment she keeps being, unrested and closed off in her mind and closed off in her heart. So it's very curious, guys, because be wary of their energy. When people seem to agree with you, they might think they're agreeing with you because they're so one. They don't want any conflicts. They're just not comfortable with their true self. They don't know where they're standing yet. Or two, it became an habit to seem kind, to seem agreeable, to seem like everything is good, and just say, oh yeah, you're right, oh thank you so much, and everything is good. But truly, when you are becoming more aware of energy field, energy of people, you know what they really think deep down. And that's what's happening. That's what I'm feeling with my mother-in-law. She's been pretending a lot in her life. She's been, looking like everything is good for her sons, her family, always looking good, always well dressed properly, always having the best image possible, whereas she didn't take time to heal what was inside, right? She was never yelling, she was never speaking up when she could at some point in her life, but from what I've heard of her when growing up, she was always kind, never yelled, never, never confronted her husband, because he's quite stubborn too. So you hold this image in this pretense, and it's just worse because you bury down things that you haven't faced in your life and in yourself, right? And you lose yourself into your identity. So this is something else she's facing right now, her identity. What is she identifying with, right? All her life was to be a mom, to be working at a business, to be cleaning in the house, to feel useful. And facing the midst of the season, for her, she doesn't quite grasp it, right? But she has a hard time letting go, because you don't know what's your identity after that, right? You don't know when you come into, and this is why I think I've heard a lot of experiences and a lot of people sharing after their retirement, they kind of start a form of depression because all of their life they've been working and they identify themselves with work and being busy, right? So suddenly you're just not busy anymore. Suddenly you don't own no accounts to nobody. So it kind of comes hard. So she kind of got all of those things in the same time, and she has to find herself. All we can do is be there for her, pray for her, pray that she opens her heart and she surrenders to God. That's the only way for her to be liberated, because otherwise every day is this, it's a cycle for her. You know, it's a cycle of what she's experiencing, and it breaks my heart to see her go through this. You know, when they say the Groundhog Day, every day over and over and over again. So it's something. It's really an opportunity for me to observe and re-question the importance, guys, of taking time and sitting down and know what you are, what is your alignment, and what is God for you. You are a vessel of His love. You are a vessel of His trueness and His allness, right? Let us not identify with those small things of this world. And it shows you how important it is to keep developing your mind, in the sense to keep developing your emotional intelligence, to keep developing your self-awareness, and develop your maturity when it comes to process your emotions. Because that shows me, because all her life maybe she hasn't truly worked on herself or worked on her maturity of how to process emotions, since her habit was to push it down and to carry on with life. It shows an immaturity for me of how to process her emotion, because you don't listen to what her sons wants to say. You don't listen to what makes sense. You stubbornly don't want to give it out to God. You stubbornly keep holding on this resistance, and it's a form of immaturity emotionally. And you need that, guys. You're gonna need that more than ever when chaos and challenges gonna come in your life. It's very important. And it shows me how important it is, because if ever, God willing or not, but if ever I find myself in a situation like that where I just forget, I really hope that I'll be able to go on with the flow and accept what is, and accept the present moment. And I think that all the work you've done in your life, all those intentional inner work and inner connection, will allow you to process through the transitions, right, to the afterlife or to the reincarnation, whatever you call it, you believe in. So it's so important. It's so important to make this work, to make this inner work while you are aware, to make this inner work while you are understanding things, to make this inner work while you are alive. This is what life is about. This is our journey of life. To do this inner work, to be healing, guys, to help others, but help ourselves. And by helping ourselves, since we're connected, you're going to help your families and friends. You're going to be a light for others. You're going to be a vessel of divine love. This is what life is about. It's not about surfing through life with fears and resistance and egomaniac and ego identity and working and gaining money. Our life is a spiritual journey. It holds so much meaning. People seek meaning. And it's a spiritual journey to discover it, to understand, to free ourselves, to finally free ourselves from the weight of our mind, from the weight of our limited beliefs. So do it while you have time, right? Because even though she doesn't remember it the next day, it is painful to repeat your same patterns, and we are all repeating our patterns in our life right now, because either we're not ready to let it go and heal from it, or either we're just not being aware, so it keeps repeating for us because it's a form of lesson, right? So yeah, I've spoken enough for today, and I just wanted to share that, and I'm gonna see you on the next video. Ciao, ciao.